My name is Dioveris Lopez. I'm from St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. Me llamo Dioveris Lopez. Soy de Santa Cruz. St. Croix is in Charlotte. First language was Spanish. I was told that when I tried to speak English, I really sounded like I was talking gibberish. And then, of course, I learned to speak English. When I can speak Spanish, my vocabulary isn't as wide as I feel like it should be, and I speak it more like a slang. I can have a casual conversation, maybe not. When I go back home, we have a dialect called Crucian. St. Croix is the biggest island out of all four. St. Thomas also is the capital. Charlotte Amalie, everyone knows that. It's the more tourist attraction. Everyone goes there and loves it. More hilly and just it's more attractive to others because it's familiar. But St. Croix, it's bigger, it's a flatter island. People think of someone from the island, they probably think of a typical Jamaican, someone with dreadlocks and a heavy accent and reggae music, which is true, but we have, just different people. We have dark-skinned, light-skinned African descended people, or we have a lot of Hispanics. We have Puerto Rican people, Dominican. I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican. We have Asian. We just have all kinds of different backgrounds. My mom is Puerto Rican, born on St. Croix, but Puerto Rican. Her parents were of Puerto Rican descent. My dad is from Dominican Republic. And I have somewhat of a hard time identifying myself because, yes, I'm what's considered Hispanic, but then I consider myself African American as well. So it's just a little hard sometimes trying to figure out who I can identify myself with or who I am. I can identify well with African Americans. I think my accent wasn't a big deal because people from Charleston have that same twang in their accent. They see the same thing, but they see me as one of them, and them being African American. Until 2008, I came up to Charlotte for college, and I've been here ever since. When I'm identifying myself, it's hard. Sometimes I put in the black box, or the Hispanic box, or the island girl box. If you ask me, I'm just a mixture of a whole bunch of good stuff. I've had experiences where I've been told, well, you're not black, but I do. I feel like I'm black. I'm black. I'm Hispanic, but I'm black. And I've had experiences where the way I speak wasn't well enough. The term Afro-Latina, I like it. For people like me, it's a good description of who I am because it shows that I am of African descent, and I'm also a Latina. I came to Charlotte to go to college. I went to Johnson C. Smith, and it was a pretty smooth transition for me. I didn't necessarily intend to go to an HBCU. I didn't know too much about college. I just knew I was supposed to go, and that's where I chose to go. Coming from St. Croix to Charlotte to go to an HBCU, like I said, it was a very smooth transition because I went to school with majority black people or dark-skinned people, Hispanic people, and when I came to Smith, again, it's an HBCU, you had majority black people there, and I felt fine. It was a great transition. In Charlotte, there are a few different places you can go to on both ends, the West Indian and then the Latino end. There's restaurants, great food, nightclubs, dancing, and so forth. We have actually a little carnival that happens in the summertime. Along with the city growing here in Charlotte, diversity is also growing. So soon enough, we'll be able to see more things maybe from St. Croix. For people who are looking to figure out, who I am, or people like me, who we are, I think that the best way you can go is not trying to identify them. Because being black is not just one color, it's not one culture, it's not one look. You have blacks with straight hair, with big hair, short hair, dark hair, light hair. high cheekbones, big lips, big nose, small nose, high eyebrows. We all look different, but we are all going to be hard trying to get my daughter to understand who she is, because in the world that we're growing up in now, or she will be growing up in, they're going to try to put her in a box, or try to tell her who she is. And honestly, I want to educate her and teach her about who she is, and teach her about her culture and where she came from and where I came from. Understand we all want to be different and want to be seen differently, and I mean, yes, we have different cultures, we listen to maybe different music or have different cooking styles or cultural wear. If we all just stand next to each other, and if we could just understand that we're one, we're one, and if we can accept that, I think that things would be a lot easier and better. Yeah, I do embrace my African culture. I'm proud to be African, of African descent, and I love learning about, where I came from, where my own culture originated from, my music, my beliefs and so forth. I think my family does as well. This is my sister.
Like I said, like she said, growing up, being Hispanic and Indian and West Indian, it was just like, okay, do I have some African in me? Like, what's going on? But we definitely all do. Coming from the islands, again, like my sister said, we are proud to be Black, but we also know that where our Blackness came from. It came from Africa. So when I came to the United States, it was a shock for me to see how everybody was pro-Black, but they didn't claim themselves with their African ancestors. They didn't claim themselves to be African, and not realizing that Black comes from Africa. Like, you're African American. Before slavery and all of that, your ancestors came from Africa. They had a whole different culture. They had a whole different way of believing in things and all of that. And sometimes you need to go and dig deep inside that and figure out what that was and who you are, and just learn about that, because everything that you've been taught, your parents have been taught by slave owners, and it's not true. It's not truth. So definitely dig deep in more and figure out who you are, because there's a big illusion going on around and people don't know who they are, and you guys need to embrace your African heritage. Embrace it.
So my mom's ancestors, aside from being from Puerto Rico, came from an island called Montserrat, which is a French-speaking island, and shows you that the diversity in the Caribbean. I mean, yes, we have a French-speaking island. St. Croix was owned by 7 different countries, and not one of them being Africa, but still we're aware of our Blackness and don't question it. I mean, and we're comfortable and proud in our own skin, knowing who we are.
In my experience, or from what I know, the West, I'm speaking about the United States of America, they label everything. They're the one who put labels on every ethnicity out there. They're the one who say, those are the Asians, those are the Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, African. And I just want people to know that those labels are just illusions, and most of us we come from the same ancestry line. We all all our ancestors are from Africa. We all are one. Just like even just saying United States of America, everybody thinks that that's America, when there's Latin America. The term African American can actually be used in a more diverse way. You don't have to be just from the United States to be African American, if you want to look at it that way.
So I'm Dioveris Lopez.
And I'm Rose Lopez.
And we're proud of our African heritage. Dominicans.
Puerto Rican.
Crucians.
West Indian.
We're all here.
We're all here.